Robert Neal Bowen Jr. was born in Cleveland, Ohio in 1932 on April 1st. When he moved to Michigan, he initially lived in Grand Rapids because of his father's job. His father was a carpet cleaner. In 1942, the family left Grand Rapids for Plymouth. They moved into 113 Penniman Avenue, where Bob spent the rest of his childhood. This house still stands at the corner of Church and Penniman. Bob's family consisted of his parents, Neil and Gladys Bowen, and his younger brother, David. His parents were affectionately called Murph and Mrs. Murph around town. Every night, Mr. Bowen would eat dinner with his family at a circular oak table. He still has this table today. Robert was a graduate from Plymouth High School in 1951. Although he didn't attend many outside activities, he was a member of the tennis team for 4 years and a captain. Additionally, he was an active member of Boy Scouts, choir, and the Boys' Glee Club. His favorite teacher was Miss Waldorf, the poetry teacher, or Miss Overton, his art teacher. His favorite subject was science, particularly biology. From an early age, he loved animals, and this was a way to study these creatures more. He loved spending time in northern Michigan at Lake Michigan. In his free time, he would often walk along Tonquish Creek and observe the wildlife. Even his room expressed his passion for animals. He had an aquarium of fish, 23 snakes, and a tarantula. After graduation, Mr. Bowen then continued with education at Michigan State University as a graduate of 1955. He was an active member of the fraternity Alpha Pi Omega. After his freshman year at Shaw Hall, he decided that he didn't like dorm life. He graduated with a degree in zoology. After graduation, the Plymouth Draft Board told him he was not needed for service immediately. Mr. Bowen then decided to take a trip to the Atlantic coast to see an ocean for the first time. This trip convinced Mr. Bowen to pursue his master's. This led him to Hawaii, where he pursued a master's degree in anthropology. During his time there, he worked at the Bishop Museum and taught anthropology. In his classroom, he would bring real-life examples and hands-on activities for his students. For example, he once made an archaeological site out of sand in the classroom with real artifacts for his students to study. Towards the end of his master's program, Mr. Bowen was drafted into service. He left Hawaii and went back home to Michigan. He served in the infantry in West Germany. This is where he met his first wife, but this marriage did not last long. After his time in service, he returned to Hawaii to finish his thesis about the skeletal remains in Oahu. After his time in Hawaii, Robert Bowen worked as director and curator of anthropology at Cranbrook Institute of Science from 1972 to 1980. During this time, he took a trip to Africa and met Dr. Mary Leakey and her son Richard. This eventually led to him being invited to work with the Leakeys in Tanzania, where they found 3.5 million-year-old footprints, believed to be the oldest in existence by upright members of the family of man. In 1981, Bob Bowen moved to Arizona to be the director of the Museum of Northern Arizona. He moved with his wife, Lee, and his 2 children, Tom and Karen, and his 2 dogs. During this time, he was on a committee to develop a curriculum for a Navajo school and assist with the development of a state park. Today, Mr. Bowen is retired in the state of Washington.